Okay, so welcome back. As you can see, I am on a Fedora system at the moment. This is my machine from which I will do all the tutorials. This is not a virtual machine. Uh, Never mind that the menu icon looks a little bit different here for me as opposed to you. Completely relevant, just a matter of configuration, really. It still serves exactly the same function. Okay, so let me just go ahead and open up a new Firefox browser. That is one of the first things that we need to do is ensure that our browser is working the way we want it to work to ensure a greater degree of anonymity online. Although this is some of the configuration is fairly straightforward. I mean, nothing special that you need to do. Just click here. I've installed AdBlock Plus. You can, and can if you wish, or you don't need to. It's not a prerequisite. If you want to install it, just go into add-ons here, get add-ons, type in add block. Should pop up right here, somewhere around here. I already have it installed, but it will be here for you. It will say AdBlock Plus or AdBlock, doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of convenience, not a pre-requirement. Anyway, what you need to do is go into Preferences. And Preferences, you're going to begin from General. So, don't have Google set as your homepage. Have this set as your homepage. By default, this will be there. I don't see any real reason to change it. Always check if Firefox is your default browser. Yes, leave that as it is and save files to download. So don't go always ask me where to save files, rather instead just go to downloads by default. That's all default configuration, so no need to change anything there. Now, under the search patterns, you will have the ability to add or remove search engines. So you basically just select it and click on remove. Remove everything aside from Google and DuckDuckGo and make DuckDuckGo as your primary search engine by selecting it here. So that's one of the things. You can either have the suggestions or not, but just have the same configuration as I have here. You can also add more search engines if you want, but that's not really what I want here. DuckDuckGo is a search engine which does not, as they state, does not keep any logs in regard to your activity, and they don't keep track of your IP addresses. So have that as your default search engine and have Google here as a backup because, I don't know, it technically Google is superior to DuckDuckGo. It will provide you in a lot of scenarios with better search results, but DuckDuckGo is just fine. Go down to content and make sure that the pop-up windows are being blocked by default. And check which sites are allowed to send you notifications. Periodically check this to make sure that there is nothing there. You can go down to applications, but nothing you really need to do or change there. In privacy, okay, use tracking protection in private browsing. Change block list. And then, okay, so private browsing, change block list, and select the second option. Now, this is gonna make some of the sites unfunctional in my experience thus far, but you can temporarily disable it at any point in time. But it's good. Firefox will never remember history. Firefox will use the same settings as private browsing and will not remember history as you browse the web. You will need to reset the browser once this is done. And you also click on clear all current history and you select everything and you make sure that you toggle all of these here. But since this is a freshly installed system, I'm guessing that there won't be any history to begin with, or much of it anyway. When using the location bar, suggest from history, bookmarks, or open tabs. No, none of these are needed. Go down in security and you toggle these three. You can use a master password, but we're not going to be saving any login information into our browser anyway. The saved login information in the browser is useful when you're on a laptop and you're outside, so you don't have to type in your password. But if you're home on a PC, you don't need this at all. Sync, we're not going to go into sync, and advanced. So use smooth scrolling, hardware acceleration, check my spelling as I type. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. You can click on the data choices. If it gives you something and it's asking you to share something, just go ahead and toggle that. Don't share. There's no need to share anything now. Network. Now here you can actually configure Firefox to connect to the net and to pull the content from the net in various ways over proxies and such things. But we're gonna get into that later on when we actually set up proxies and other things. Tell me when a website asks to store data for offline use. Yes, of course. Automatically update search engines. Yes, and the certificates. When a server requests my personal certificate, ask me every time. And from time to time, it's not a bad idea to check out the SSL certificate as well up here. It says secure connection. And look, you can click here, and if the site is not working, you can click disable protection for this session, and that's going to refresh the site and will make it actually work. If you want to check the certificate, verified by, I usually just check these things, but there's like more information here. And it's always going to say, have I visited this site? No, because it doesn't have any history of whatsoever. That's good for us because we don't want any history. We don't want it there at all. All cookies will be there. Nothing will be basically stored. That's a benefit for us, as every time we start the browser, it will be like it's a brand new installation of the browser, completely clean, without any sort of problems. And browsing protection here, disable protection for this tracking protection, that blocks external JavaScript code. So that's nice for us. That's very, very nice. Okay, just a short tutorial how to do some basic setup with your browser, but we'll also be installing the Tor browser and we'll be messing around with that as well later on. So this was just a basic overview of how the browser should be configured.